All right, let's get rolling. This is episode 63. It's been a couple weeks. My last one was with Jack from the WAC, and I just want to follow up on one major topic that got the most amount of discussions. Because as I'd mentioned before, I don't get a lot of tennis talk from this. I get all the weird stuff. So it's officially been decided whether you can hit a home run, an average person like myself, or dunk a basketball. And we've talked to a lot of people, and turns out hitting a home run wins. I was wrong. I thought it was dunking, but hitting the home run, and basically it comes down to amount of swings you can take versus jumps you can make before losing power, getting hurt, being able to get the same height, and then luck. If you square up a bat with a ball one time, you could knock it out of the park. So a friend of mine, Dan, who played, I believe, played some professional baseball, told me that he could get me to hit one out of Miller Park. I think it's just because I'm so strong, though, not because of all the other things. It's probably just my amazing athletic ability and strength and hand-eye coordination. But it sounds like home run is the way to go. Although I still disagree. Jack says he could do it in a month. No way. Takes a little practice. But that was sort of the main thing. And the other issue that you can't really teach height. So I'm almost 6 foot. It'd be a lot easier if I was 6'2" or 6'3", but that's not going to happen. So I wanted to wrap that up. But we're going to start today with another round of the what is wrong with people. I've got some things. So I'm just going to start in no particular order. I've got a good one coming up though. So I've, as some of you know from podcasts, because I talk about what's going on in my world, I've got some more skin cancer. It's the good kind, if you can have that, same as before. So I'm sitting in the doctor's office a couple of weeks ago, and it's early, probably 9:15. I'm the only one there, and this lady walks in the waiting room, and she is voice texting the entire time. She checks in. She's voice texting. It's not a FaceTime. It's just she's sending texts back and forth. So I learned all about her neighbors, her two kids, Audrey and Ricky, and what they're doing for Christmas and where they're going because of voice texting. It was so annoying. And I kept sitting there thinking, why can't you just type it in? You're in a waiting room, there's nothing else to do. Just type it in. But she voice texts her entire life. I know lots of things about her and her family, and it drove me insane. And I don't know what is wrong with people. So, second one happened twice. Same guy. There's this dude at the gym I work out at. I will only say that it is not Lake Country, and I don't know this person. It's another location. See him a lot. Big dude. I'd call him a meathead or a gym bro. Um, Real tight shirts. Um, just sort of jacked up and giant head. Anyway, these things happen twice. The first time, he gets on the treadmill next to me, and he turns the TV up full blast. The actual TV that's hanging on the wall, the ones that don't have sound coming out of them at any gym, he cranks it to the top because he doesn't have headphones. And he puts it on, I think it was MSNBC or CNN, and full blast. The whole gym is hearing what he's listening to. So the second time, same dude, a few days later, comes in, treadmill next to me, puts his phone up, has no headphones. He cranks his phone up full blast. Again, watching some show. It was a political show, full blast, no headphones. Everybody can hear it, and even with headphones in, I can still hear everything. Just distracting and weird, and I didn't know what to do for a couple of reasons. One, this dude's giant; he would destroy me if he decided that he wanted to. One punch, I'm done. Probably a light punch, I'm out. Right, and you never know what you're going to get with that type of gym person. And I didn't know whether to go to the front desk or ask someone else, but it was just odd. And again, it's what is wrong with people? you go to the gym and just play your own. Why don't you just bring a jam box like the '80s and sit it on your shoulder? It's just it's insane. All right, last one. This is one of my favorites all time ever in my tennis career. So I get asked. I'm going to try to be as general as I can about how this went down, but I got asked to help a player with their tennis racket, getting it strung, new grip, something like that. I wasn't quite sure when I got into this, so I I meet this player, and they had two rackets, different, one Prince, one Wilson, different string patterns, and that's important here. So if you're a tennis player, you know that different rackets have different numbers of strings. So one of her rackets, this person's rackets, had 16 mains. That's the up and downs, right? So 16 across, 8 on each side, fairly normal. Her other one, a Prince racket, only had 14. And I was told that this person playing wasn't playing as good with the racket that had 14 because it was missing two strings. And this player wanted me to add two strings to the one with only 14. And I tried politely to show that there's no grommets, there's no holes there. There's no empty holes. We didn't do anything wrong. This frame was built for 14 mains. But I didn't quite get it under control, and I was asked if I could drill holes into the drill drill holes into the frame and add additional strings to the racket because it wasn't playing as good because it had less strings. And I tried to handle it as best I could while in my head I'm thinking, I've never dealt with this before. Because that's something that most people think they can just, well, I've got 17 strings here. Can you just throw an 18th on and I'll play a little bit better? But I've never had anything like that in my life that want to drill holes in the racket and add additional strings. I suppose it could be done if I had the time and a drill or something, but it was like explaining that how rackets are made. And I'm not a super techie person, but it was awesome and a story I will tell forever. So that's my what's wrong with people. Random topics. We live in a strange time, right? With people fighting over politics and COVID and all these things, right? And it seems like you're either one side or the other. There is no in between anymore. But I was thinking, because I watch a lot of outdoor shows and I love like Alone and all these things out in middle of nowhere. So, do people that live in remote locations for this purposes say, let's say Alaska, they're I don't know, hundreds of miles from civilization and like a town, and they live off the land and off grid as those shows are. Do they care what's going on? Like, are those the happiest people on earth? Because they don't. It doesn't really affect them who the president is when you're living in the mountains in the woods, far from civilization. Do those people like that chose that life? Do they even care what party's in charge or what COVID's doing? Because I don't see how it could affect them. They're so far away. At least the ones I'm thinking of. Do they live the perfect life because they don't have to deal with, I don't know, walking on eggshells when you talk to people because you don't know where they stand on things. And I have kind of a rule: I do not discuss politics with people unless you are maybe my family, but probably not even that either. It'd have to be somebody that I've never met yet to have those discussions. But I was just wondering, is that a way? Do they care that gas costs what it did cost? I go to the grocery and it's twice as much. Do people who live that life even they like laughing at us because we have to deal with all this stuff? So anyway, that's a super random thought, but that's what this is for me. So update on weight loss. It's not good. It's a Sunday night. I just finished like 3 plates of Skyline chili, probably 2,000 calories, and have not been doing well. I'm getting a lot of training in for my race. I did get 5.5 miles in this morning, so the exercise is good. The eating's bad, and I think I'm going to put it off for a month because my house has been full of cookies. They're baking cookies right now, and I'm struggling with it. But I think I'm going to be like a lot and go on hold and just pile it on for December and start again in January. My race is until April 28th, so I got a little bit of time. So that's sort of the random things. I got a little bit of a couple of tennis things. I struggle in my career and at home. Like today, it's been a rough day. Not rough, but um, boring because the Colts played on Saturday at 3:30. Well, great. We won, by the way. Greatest team ever. We're 8-6, going to be in the playoffs, win the Super Bowl, and then I'm going to do the greatest podcast I've ever done because I'll probably have to have a drink. But that's going to happen. Anyway, so that laid today. I don't teach on Sunday, so I had a whole day. Typically, Sundays is workout, football, the rest of the day. Well, my Colts didn't play today, so I was kind of, and this leads me to my tennis topic is that I struggle. I need projects. I need things always working on something, especially at work. If I don't have anything, I struggle. I need to always be having ideas and working on a future thing. And when I don't, I struggle. I get antsy. I feel like I'm not doing my job. I'm not um, keeping up with the other talented people I work with who are always creating things. So I struggle with that a lot, and I don't do very well when I don't have anything cooking. So the last week or so, I haven't had much like a big project. The big things I was working on are done. They actually worked. They're going to happen. I put a lot of work into them. They're going, and I really struggle with just letting them go and sort of sitting in everything's okay. Let things work. And on the tennis court, I'm finding that in the adult side of things, I think adults have that same issue on the court that they're not necessarily okay when things are working. So you've got a good plan. You're winning. You're close. You're up a game, up one break, and your plan is working. And I always see people start tinkering and trying other things. And well, this is working. It's probably not going to work that long. So we have to try something else, and then mistakes happen. And um, I think it's a challenge on the tennis court to just accept that everything's okay. We don't need to be strategizing every second because we found something that works and it's fine, and have some patience to let that process play out on the court and accept the boring. I'm terrible at it. I get one, for instance, at the WAC. I started this adult report card program, and it took probably I probably worked on it over 2 to 3 months. Nothing major, not all the time, but every day I'm doing something. I'm talking to people. I'm creating it. Finally got it done. It's out. Um, it's working. We've got 40 people signed up. And then I'm like, what do I do now? Like instantly, as soon as I put those flyers up and started it, what's next? And so I've got one. I'm starting coffee with coaches. Pretty much done. I've got it scheduled, flyers up. Uh, I got to do something right away. But on the court, if you and your partner or you and singles find something that's working, try to stay with it. Live in the boring. Live in the we did the work. Now we just let it do its thing. And I'm like I said, I'm terrible at it. But I have a lot of players who finally they'll work hard and they'll finally find the strategy or the different plays they want to use, and then it's working, and then they like start doing other things, and I can relate to that because I'll have something done and move on to the next, and I don't necessarily enjoy the work I did or watch it do its thing, if that makes sense. And I would just think all of us could be a little more patient when you put a plan together. Let that plan live, I guess. I don't think that makes sense at all. But if you're listening to this, you know that most of what I talk about doesn't make sense. So sticking on the tennis court, I have this issue on the court that I will watch players, let's say it's a league match. I'll watch them get the tennis balls, the three balls. They go out, they warm up, they're just fine with three balls. They chase it if they miss, they keep the ball in play forever. Everything's fine. They get their 10-minute warm up and they go. And then I'll see these same players come to a lesson, and within 3 or 4 minutes, we'll have 50 balls all over the court. And it bothers me because I know they're better than that, but they're using the cart, they're using me as a crutch to that. And so I try not to feed much in the beginning in the warm up, and I it does get awkward because I'll have players like look to me to feed them the ball, and I won't. And you have those moments of like, am I going to take over? And there's times where I don't want to because why? Why do I need to? You guys do this every day without me. That's because I'm standing next to the court. You have that, like I said, a crutch to expect the coach to feed that ball. So if you're a coach listening to this, try doing a warm up one day. Give them three balls. Maybe give them six, double it. Tell them I'm not feeding any. Let's see if we can keep this going. Give them a challenge. We're gonna warm up. You got 2 minutes. When we're done, I want to look around and see less than 10 balls on the court. They can reuse them. They can go pick one up. But I think coaches have gotten into the habit of feeding so much in the beginning. I get if you're doing a drill, you got to feed the ball. But in the beginning of a warm up, players should be able to rally just like they do when you're not there. And I'm also a little curious from players what you think about that in a drill. So I do one on Tuesday mornings with Tim, and we start similar each week. And like we have different things. Tim will be by the basket or close to it and restart rallies and feed, and I wander in circles and talk to each player, and they're both fine. Tim, you're cool. I'm not blasting you at all. Your play way is probably better. Your players seem to have a good time. But I tend to wander. I'll have a ball or two in my hand in case I see a miss, but I want them to get to be independent thinkers a little bit and doers and trying to find that basket. Um, but I'd say next time you warm up, see if you can do it without your coach having to feed balls. Right? You can go if he says, "All right, we're going to rally down the line for a minute, cross court for a minute, a couple of volleys, then we'll start the lesson." See if you can do it without the coach. Maybe this is just a me thing. Probably is. Um, Lastly, I think I have a short agenda today. So if you're playing doubles, what do you want to hear from your partner when you're struggling? I had a good conversation with um, one of our good members and students of mine who I've gotten to know well. And I like on this, I try not to use names in case people don't want their name on here. So we had a good conversation about how to handle when, for instance, I'm playing poorly. Do I want my partner cheering me on and saying positive things? Let's go. Come on, you can do this. Everything's fine. Or do I want them to be quiet and let me work through my own issues? Kind of, I call it the darkness. Kind of live in the darkness. I've talked to a lot of players who I feel like they don't want a cheerleader. They want to work through it themselves because I don't think there's much worse if you're playing poorly than to hear somebody tell you how good you're playing or being super positive. I know when I'm in a bad mood, I don't want to be around positive people. I'd like to have a few minutes to live in that, the darkness, the negative, and work my way out of it versus someone constantly sort of trying to raise my morale a little bit. Um, and is it okay as a partner to tell your partner, hey, just leave me alone for a bit? You can do it nicely. I don't need it. I understand what you're trying to do, but let me handle this. I think that's the way I would do it if it's that bad. If I'm going down a bad path, um, believe it or not, I'm a fairly positive person on a tennis court. I'm a lot of rainbows and unicorns, always searching for good, even when the shot is the worst I've ever seen. Trying to find something. But in my real life, I live by a law of low expectations. I expect the worst, and then I'm never disappointed. We've talked about this before. So I don't want somebody cheering me on, but I also think that all it takes sometimes, if you're really struggling, you're in the darkness, all it takes is one great shot, one great point, something to get you out of it. And I think that's more likely to happen than my partner talking me through it. I'm talking for me now. It could be I ace somebody, I hit a volley winner, we get lucky, something funny happens, entertaining that cracks me up, or um, all it takes, whatever it is for you, but all it takes is one thing to get you out of that. If you're playing, I wrote like garbage. Um, I don't want Mister. I think I have players around me that probably don't like it when they miss a ball, and I immediately tell them something good about it. I can see it. They're like, "Shut up, Scott." Sort of that. I know what you're trying to do, but don't do it to me. I still do it because I talk, and that's my job ultimately. But think about how you want to be treated when you go dark, or are you the person that needs someone to pull you out of that? Um, Maybe you are. I'm not. I'd prefer just let me deal with it in my um, negative silence, and I'll figure it out. That's sort of where I'd go with it. So let me know what you think. That's it. This is a short one. I'm still celebrating the Colts victory. Again, you can follow Instagram, Order on the Courts podcasts. I've also got my Scott Ficks-Tennis and Pickleball. It's on YouTube. You can see some of the stuff I post. I do record these just so I have a backup if everything sucks. So it is on YouTube. It's Scott Ficks-Tennis and Pickleball. Um, all that kind of stuff. So thanks everybody. I know it's pretty short, but maybe that's better for you. Probably better for me too. So if I don't have another one before Christmas, hope your Christmas is awesome. Enjoy it. I think I mentioned it at the top. Maybe I didn't. I had it on my list, but second big news in my life is Annie's coming home. Yep, Tuesday. Have not seen her since June, so I'm gonna take these. I think she's home for 12 days. I'm gonna take these 12 days and do my best work to convince her to leave that sorry state of California and explore the rest of the country. Annie, I'm so glad you went out on your own. I think it's time to see somewhere else. Maybe a Florida, maybe something in the South, something warm. Go to Texas. Let's try that out. Oh, and I'm not asking you to come home. This isn't your invitation to move back into our house. We don't have the space, and I think you would not enjoy it. But you're welcome to visit, and then let's talk about that. So anyway, I don't know if I'll do one until after Christmas or New Year's with Annie home, or maybe I'll have her join me. But Merry Christmas, everybody. Hope it's awesome, and I will see y'all in the courts later.